calling for the genocide of Jews, does that constitute bullying or harassment?
If it is directed and severe or pervasive, it is harassment.
So the answer is yes.
It is a context-dependent decision.
Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment?
It depends on the context.
It does not depend on the context. The answer is yes.
The presidents of Harvard University, the University of Pennsylvania, and MIT gave America an early Christmas present during their pitiful testimony on Capitol Hill this week. They were asked directly by Congresswoman Elise Stefanik whether calling for the genocide of Jews violated the codes of conduct of their universities or constituted harassment, and all of the leftist academics equivocated. You know, folks, it's always a gift when somebody reveals their true nature to us, whether for better or worse. It's a gift for the whole country when an entire movement is exposed for who and what they really are, as the left has clearly done in recent years. Now, Americans who are watching their nation be turned upside down by the left's slow march through our institutions need not race headlong into 2024 with a sense of being consumed by it all. After decades of often ignoring this worsening condition, Americans can face these threats now out of the shadows head on. But there's a catch. The socialists and Marxists in the Democratic Party that are methodically chewing away at this country are brilliant strategists who overwhelm their opposition with human capital, with messaging, and money. They provide so many targets to confront. Conservatives often end up paralyzed. They create a society that, to those who hold fast to traditional American and biblical values, can turn into a political and rhetorical firefight that not only wastes time and resources, but just often seems utterly hopeless. The key to winning the battle for America is, as individuals, appreciating that we cannot fight a multi-front war. But when we focus on one or two issues, we can be effective. We are so deluged with information that shocks us and outrages us that it's only natural to want to tackle that broader challenge of saving this nation from the erosion of all standards of decency, morality, and truth. But compartmentalizing our individual approaches to activism is critical to ensuring that our involvement is deep and more effective. We have limitations. We simply can't be experts in everything. We can't influence a dozen issues well. We can't hold a real job and raise a family and be an activist who fights the socialists on every front every day. And that's okay. And by the way, posting on X and other social media platforms isn't activism, folks. Unless you have millions of followers or you're a hedge fund billionaire like Bill Ackman, who called for the presidents of Harvard, MIT, and UPenn to resign in disgrace, you're not getting the multiplier effect that you need to have real impact. But people can act locally to organize and project influence. We all have the power to be in this fight. That local influence can translate into statewide action and then national change. And how do I know this works? Because that's what the socialists have done for decades. So if you went to one of these colleges, one that's run by one of these leftists or doesn't care about intellectual diversity, stop giving them money. Stop buying tickets to their sporting events. Cut them off. If you're a veteran who cares about the collapse of our military into a weak, woke shadow of its former self, rejuvenate fading military associations to help drive awareness and change. If you're part of a law enforcement community and you're watching communities suffer because of the war on cops, engage in your area to support your police. If you're a parent and you see your school teaching alternative histories, critical race theory, and radical gender ideology instead of reading and math, lean into working with other parents to reform that school. If you're a teacher who has watched the collapse of our public schools at the hands of socialist union bosses, tenure, and ideologically driven curriculum, join the millions who are working to give parents greater choice in education. If you're a current or former athlete who wants to protect women's sports and privacy in the locker rooms, then join with others to make that your battle. If you're Jewish and you're seeing the left's pervasive anti-Semitism, wear your faith openly, honoring both God and those who died for their beliefs. If you're a Methodist and you're watching your church be torn apart by a left-wing social agenda, do what thousands of congregations have done and create a new path forward until you can regain control. If you're Catholic, Hold Catholic elected officials accountable for thumbing their noses at church teaching. If you served in government and now see how public employee unions abuse taxpayers and are bankrupting our nation, fight to make this country one of the people again, not the administrative state. Do any one of those things in your daily life. Just pick one. Do it in your daily life and in your local community, and it is a victory for America. The enemy has been flushed out into the open. In their arrogance of power, they have revealed themselves to us. One of their biggest fortifications against us is collapsing. So, pick an issue, organize locally, and really dig into it. Don't be afraid. As we head into 2024, don't let the gift of knowing the left's true nature go to waste.